Yeah, what is up, everyone? I am Charlie Shrem, your host, and you're listening and watching a super duper episode of Untold Stories, where together, twice a week, we get to dive deep with some of crypto's most influential leaders to find out how this movement truly came to be, where it is right now, and where we're going in the future. And it is episode 300. We're celebrating today. It's episode 300. I can't believe it. We're going to take you, this is such a special episode. We're going to take you down memory lane. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about like so many stories going back our lives 10 years. I'm joined by none other, the myth, the legend, the woman, the one who's seen it from her eyes, we've been together for 10 years. My amazing wife, Courtney Warner Shrem. Court, I love you so much.
I love you too.
We're episode 300, 3 years into the show. I really can't believe we're here today.
I know. Congratulations.
Wait, we have to get the ice cream sandwiches.
Okay.
If you're not watching this episode, this is like the perfect episode to be watching because we're here. We have our dog Baz. We're gonna be eating ice cream sandwiches. It's episode 300. I'm so excited. All right, let me grab the sandwiches. As we're unwrapping and eating these ice cream sandwiches.
Babe, cheers.
Cheers. I love you so much.
I love you too.
I want to give a special shout out and thanks to the whole team and everyone who's been here with us for all these years. You guys have been amazing. I can't believe we're here. Where we started, we didn't even know if we'd get to this point. Most podcasts never do. And it's like, to be here is like a really exciting moment. So where does this journey begin?
Oh, where do we start?
It goes back to the EVR days in April 2013.
Oh, the good EVR days.
What was that like to you? How did you find that place, and how, from your eyes, how did we first meet and everything like that, and how did that intertwine with Bitcoin?
It all started, I was pounding the pavement, living in New York City at the time. Resume in my hand in the dead of December in the winter, snow falling, freezing my butt off. I see these two tall wooden doors with no name on it. And there was a guy smoking a cigarette outside, and I happened to pass by and I'm like, excuse me, what is this place? And the guy goes, oh, this is a new club that we're opening up called EVR. The name's not on the door yet. I said, oh, that's cool. I said, well, are you guys hiring? Because I'm a cocktail waitress and I am looking for a job. And he's like, actually, why don't you come in, check out the place? So I went in, checked out the place, and he looked at my resume and I got hired on the spot. And it just happened to be the very first place to accept Bitcoin as the very first transaction in New York City in a bar/nightclub that I happened to do the very first transaction.
Could you imagine in 2013, almost 10 years ago, really almost 10 years ago,
yeah.
Months away, people were spending Bitcoin at a nightclub at a novelty. And
Yep.
like, I forget the price was probably in the dollars at the time. And like people were really excited, but back in those days, the New York Bitcoin community was what? New York, San Francisco, Miami, maybe. Berlin was a huge community, but it was mostly relegated to like chat rooms and forums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So here you are. I know this will be like a book or a movie, and you're finding yourself in a place where people from around the country are coming in order just to see what it feels like to really spend Bitcoin for a drink or for some food.
Yep. And champagne showers.
Yeah. And champagne showers, actually. Some of the other people that hung out at that club was Eric Voorhees, who ended up co-founding Shapeshift and so many other companies like that. And him and I were running BitInstant back then, and he was hanging out there all the time.
Jared Kenna
was always there. The first Bitcoin exchange, Trade Hill, we had him on the show not too long ago. He was down with us in Austin. How much fun was that reminiscing in Austin with those guys at Consensus? We did like a 10 years later panel, and we had it on the show. That ice cream sandwich was so good.
I know, it was so good. It was only 100 calories, so it's somewhat healthy. No, it was good. And it was actually cool to catch up with Jared in Austin because that was the first time that we really got to know each other from us being together for so long. And then he actually saw like what we saw, you know.
Yeah, because there was a lot of shit that ended up happening like a few months and a year later. And you ended up kind of riding through all of that with me, and we rode through all that stuff together. So to go through, you know, after all that, it was just so much fun. So we're out there. You're doing the first Bitcoin transaction. That's kind of how we first met. And There was an amazing blind date.
Yeah, we were set up on a blind date, meaning, well, we knew what each other looked like, but there was a time when I was done working at EVR at the time, and then everyone's like, we're all going out for drinks, and we're like, all right, cool. So they're like, we're going to be at this place, and they told you that where the place was as well. And I go there, you go there, no one else shows up. Turns out we've been set up because they both knew that we had a crush on each other.
It was so beautiful.
At the same time. Yeah.
And then I ended up throwing up on you on the first date.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much.
We had so much fun that night. And from what I remember those days, we were like living above the club, and BitInstant was going through some real craziness. This was 2013. The government was for the first time talking about what Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
But we did some crazy stuff. We went to the Bitcoin San Jose conference in 2013.
My very first Bitcoin conference.
Oh my God. So wait, we're fast forwarding a little bit. So we got together and we met and we fell in love and we instantly became inseparable.
Yes.
And then I asked you like what, a month or two into our relationship, like
literally
hey,
like probably like 3 or 4 weeks in.
What happened?
Our relationship, you asked me, you're like, do you want to travel with me to 3 states? And I'm like, for what? And you're like, for a Bitcoin conference. And I was like, I mean, I was totally into you. So I was like, sure, you know, why not? And I've never really traveled before. So I was like, this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity. So my very first Bitcoin conference was San Jose in 2013. And I was basically almost the only girl there because it was so crazy how small of a community it was compared to what it is now.
Oh my God, the whole community back then. It was like you'd have Brian Armstrong from Coinbase was there, and he was like giving away Bitcoin. We were giving away like Cassatius coins at our booth.
Yeah.
Back then, there was a guy who was like what was his name? He was like singing all the time.
Oh, the Bitcoin guy that was singing?
Yeah, he was
singing
like
the Bitcoin song?
Yeah, he had the BitInstant theme song. You can still find it on YouTube.
I can't remember the name of it.
Jiao Dong.
Yes, Jiao Dong.
Yeah. And he did that whole crazy Bitcoinica song. He did the BitInstant song. He did a bunch of other theme songs. Like, this is such an interesting thing. So here you have this, like, the only YouTuber at the time who's like doing any music about Bitcoin gets invited to basically sing live on stage.
Is that the one with the Satoshi mask?
Yeah, the anonymous mask.
The anonymous mask, yeah.
So like the crazy thing was, it wasn't like it was after. So imagine you're at a Bitcoin conference and like as you're walking around the exhibition hall, there's a guy rapping about Bitcoin like on stage just overlooking everyone. And I think the reason that we had to do that was because we couldn't even fill an exhibition hall in San Jose. Like there were it was like.
There's videos of you like jumping on stage to like the Bitcoin songs of, you know, like before I met you, I remember seeing videos of you and you're just like jumping to the songs.
We were jumping to the songs and there was a guy selling t-shirts and I'm trying to like bring back memories, but we had some fun dinners.
I went to my very first Bitcoin meetup in Union Square, where you sold your Fred Wilson's very first Bitcoin or something. Right?
Oh yeah, that was like not a few months later. We were back in New York and Satoshi Square that year, and we had actually Jonathan Mohan, who was just on the show too. He invented Satoshi Square.
Yeah,
and it came out of the New York Bitcoin Center. Remember that place?
Yep.
Oh man.
Oh, that was crazy too.
What did that place? Describe it to us.
You came in, what was it, like the financial district
on Wall Street.
area, or like Wall Street area? And you would go in and it was just like this Bitcoin center sign at the front. And then you would go in and there was almost like a registering area, I guess, like where people like would register to speak and so forth. And then I think they might have had like Cassatius coin like museum situations, like
they did. They had a little museum
to look
there.
at, and then you would go in and then you would actually listen to people speak, and there would probably be like four speakers.
There were always speakers like every day.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So it's like it was on Wall Street. It was like not even a stone's throw from the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, this is literally how everyone in Wall Street from the year 2013 to the year. Really 2014 it launched. And we have some New York Bitcoin Center t-shirts. Nick Spanos was the one who rented. I think he like owned the building or he owned the lease. So he turned it into, he fell in love with Bitcoin. So this guy, Nick Spanos, and he sets up this like, it's almost like it was a religious center. Like imagine like a Scientology or like a Jehovah's Witnesses or some like center that you go to like a city and they're like, hey, come in and check out like it was almost like that. But it didn't have that like weird feel because it was on Wall Street.
It was like a really industrial building. So it wasn't like, I don't know. It was just very different. I can't believe we're talking about the Bitcoin Center. It's been so long.
We met so many friends.
That's where Crab Mondays started. It's on Stone Street.
Oh my God. So it was right down there.
With Nick.
We would all go down to Stone Street to Ulysses. Nick brought Vitalik there. Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. Nick brought him there. And I remember Vitalik didn't even know how to do lobster. And everyone was there. And I didn't know how to do lobster too. Coming out of the Jewish community, we were dating like a few months.
Yeah.
I never had lobster before in my life. So here we're like doing lobster together.
Or lobster, not crab.
Yeah. No, I think it was both actually. It was lobster or crab. With the corn and the potatoes. And how funny was a few months ago, we met the owner of Ulysses and I was like, I love your place. It's New York. It's the best part. Everyone who's a New Yorker listening to the show was like nodding their heads like, yeah, Ulysses is amazing. All the Stone Street's amazing. But the New York, we'd all go there. That was like, he always had speakers every single day. You can go there after work. I would go after a Bit Instant. We'd go down there together. And it's like, hey, let's go see what's going on at the Bitcoin Center.
Yeah.
That's where we met Jake.
Yep. We would have our nights at Bit Instant office.
Oh yeah, we'd have a lot of fun.
The walk of shame before people would come to their workspace.
Oh man, I didn't have my own apartment at the time, so we were down there having to use the Bit Instant offices and enjoy and everything like that. Oh, you're making me blush. We definitely had good times, but then actually I remember coming out of the Jewish community. We went to, it was my first Christmas 2013 and Bitcoin hit 1,200 for the first time.
We were like, oh my gosh, it's 12. And you were handing out Cassatius coins to all my family members. It was great. They were like, what is this physical coin? What am I supposed to do with this? And and then you had those little papers that you, I don't know. Like
the bit bills.
The bit bills. Yeah. So that had like a little pieces of Bitcoin on it too. So I remember my grandma, before she passed away, she was like all into supporting you and Bitcoin and so forth. And she would be like, what am I supposed to do with this piece of paper again? And I was like, just hold it. Hodl. That's what you do. Just hold it.
Grandma was the best. She was the biggest supporter of us. She came actually to visit me in prison. And how old was she?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And remember when she even tripped?
She was 86.
In the visiting room, and she was 86
or 85.
Wasn't even any of the correctional officers that helped her. It was like all a bunch of other inmates.
All the inmates helped her up. I'll never forget that. As soon as we turned around, I just saw her go down. I was like, oh my God, what is going to happen here? And then I saw two like really nice inmates like helping her up. I was like, what a gentleman.
You know, one thing we didn't talk about is that you were acting before you met me, before you got totally like, I chose the Bitcoin rabbit hole. I chose the Church of Satoshi.
Yeah.
You got pulled into it. I mean, like, what were you doing before as you kind of, as we met for the first time before our first date?
I was a dancer. So I was with an agency for dance for a little bit. And then I was actually producing. I was pursuing music for a little bit as well. Remember, I would call you and be like, yep, I'm at the studio. I'm here for like 2 days. You don't hear from me. And then I come out. And believe it or not, I got a good following there for a little bit.
That one song you had.
Yeah, it's still there. Interesting. So then, and then I pursued acting after that. So then I've been just doing TV and film ever since.
And you had done a film over in Denmark, like so like.
Yes, I did a psychological drama called The Will, and the way I got that role is I actually did a horror film called The Instant Messenger previous to that, and the main character, which was the villain in The Instant Messenger, actually referred me to the director of The Will. And I read for The Will and got the role. And then that's how I got to live and work on set for a month. Actually, during the time of Hurricane Sandy. So it was crazy. We were in the middle of nowhere on Flato Island, where you literally have to take a boat to go across town and then come back over the water to be on set. So
I want everyone to know that this was 10 years ago, and Courtney's whole acting career up until now, and now you'll see her in like maybe 4 different things, hopefully. Knock on wood this year. Where's my wood?
Well, you can already see me in 2, so.
Where's my block of wood?
There's a wood.
We got to knock on wood. Got my block of wood.
Knock.
Yeah, you got to knock on the wood. Because we're so grateful for everything we have, and the fact that we're here today, and appreciative and blessed. And
thanks to you guys, we wouldn't be where we are.
Oh my God, it's episode 300.
Mm-hmm.
We just had ice cream sandwiches. Mm-hmm. We're recording and we're doing this amazing show. Like, and so many people and their lives have like intertwined with ours over the years, not even realizing it. But yeah, so we're giving out Bitcoin and Christmas and everything. Oh no, we're talking about your acting career. So I interrupted you.
That's
and
okay.
You were talking about how you were living on Flato Island.
Yeah. So basically, long story short, it was just a really amazing experience. It was my first film that I got to like literally be paid to do what I love to do. Made some amazing friends, and it was just basically a family that you just went to war with for that month. And it was the coolest experience ever, just being overseas like that.
What a fun experience. How long was that for?
It was almost a month.
Almost a month.
Yeah.
What did your mom think about that?
She was nervous, especially during Hurricane Sandy. And she's like, oh, is there anything going on there? And I was like, actually, this is the only place in the world that Hurricane Sandy is not affecting right now, because we're in the middle of nowhere in a different country. So
that movie ended up having a premiere, and it went on, and it actually it's being used as like your reference as one of your first, your breakouts. So that was a really like beneficial thing. And like, I can't believe your whole career up until now, it's harder to become a movie star, which you are now. It's harder to become a movie star than it is to become like a sports player. People think like, oh, making it to like NFL or NBA is really hard. It's like, no, like becoming an actor, a steady actor where you don't have to have another job, that is like harder than winning the lottery.
Yeah.
You're doing it not through like audition, like of course auditioning and hustling, but like what has been working for you? Like what advice do you have for people out there?
Create your own opportunities. That's what you need to do. Get to know as many people as you can that's in the industry. I don't care if they're lighting. I don't care if they're directors, producers, even your what's the word I'm looking for? Your oh my gosh, the word is just
your co-host or something?
Not co-host. No, like your peers, your other peers, like just no matter what, just get to know everybody, because you never know what kind of opportunities are on the pipeline and you can get involved and you don't know where that's going to go. So I definitely would take advantage of that and write your own stuff if you can. If you're a writer, doesn't hurt to just write.
What about like auditioning and things like that? And
I still audition. I mean, it's definitely a needle in a haystack with auditioning. Not to say that I discourage it, because I mean, it does work. It's a lot harder. And I think creating your opportunity is the way to go if you want to get noticed when you don't have any credibility at the time.
That's really, really good. That's really, really good advice. I can't wait. So what people can see you in so far, 2 things that they can go out and probably check on IMDb and like star it And then what are they called?
The Will, directed by Alexander Chapon, and Asked Me to Dance, which is just got sold, and that'll be public soon. And that's directed by Tom Malloy.
What about Trauma Therapy?
And Trauma Therapy Psychosis is in post, but you can't physically go see that yet.
Is it on?
Because it's not. It's in post, so you can't go on. You can see it, but like what it's about, but you can't actually see the movie yet.
So many other things, so many things now. And
I have a couple things in the pipeline that I'm working on now.
It's going to be a super fun summer.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
So here we are in 2013, and we go down to BitConf.
Argentina.
Love
it.
Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yes.
And Eric came down with us.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Ver came down with us, Bitcoin.com and Memory Dealers and so many other companies he started and things over the years. And went down to Argentina. And I remember why I had to go down there, but I didn't realize what ended up being such a beautiful, amazing place. What are some memories of Argentina?
I remember us going, there was a Bitcoin dinner and they were doing the tango at the restaurant. I'll never forget that. They had the tango. Why are you laughing?
It was like, yeah, I remember that.
It was
that
so
was
cool.
Great.
It was like a 2-story restaurant and we were sitting on the bottom and we were literally watching this girl in a red dress and she's doing the tango with this guy in the restaurant. It was so random, but it was just so beautiful to watch.
That was like a dinner theater.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. I was down there. I was down there supposed to meet with Anthony D'Orio because who ended up founding Decentral and Jax and was one of the co-founders of Ethereum. And he's still our good friend till today.
Isn't that where I met Anthony D'Orio?
That's where you met
for
Anthony.
The very first time. Wow.
In that back room at this bar in like the Soho area of Buenos Aires.
Okay, because we had that long table and I had to hold a buffet
in
this bar because we go to Argentina and they're like, a hold a buffet. So anywhere you go, get hold a buffet. All it is beef, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it is. It's really good quality meat everywhere you go in Argentina.
This conference ended up being such an amalgamation for the first time. And this is like almost 10 years ago. For the first time, you had the like Latin American, which has always been a huge Bitcoin and crypto adopting nations, like all of Latin America, all those countries down there, like a lot of them have hyperinflation. They need Bitcoin and crypto. A lot of them, even where their governments in other places are stable, like doing remittances around the world, and just the people down there, they're a lot more open to things, I guess, and they love Bitcoin and crypto. It was a bringing together of like the Canadian, the American, and Latin American Bitcoin communities for the first time. There was a lot of relationships were made there. I think there are definitely some pictures online of all of us eating all that amazing steak.
Do you remember who was at that table? I can't remember.
Yeah, Roger was there. Eric,
there.
Ash Oro was there.
Ash Oro was there.
I feel like we weren't even there that long, but we just like said like, hey, let's go down to Argentina and see what happens and see how it goes. And I was like, we were traveling all these different places together. And then we went to London.
Yep.
For this London Bitcoin conference.
I met Max Kaiser for the first time.
Max Kaiser.
Hi, Max.
Stacy Herbert.
Stacy.
They're down in El Salvador now. They were like the reasons that I think the president there adopted Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah, they're doing some crazy things.
They are.
But they married us.
I know. I was just going to say we have a very special place in our heart for those people because they did the honor of marrying us.
Yeah. What was that like having Stacy marry us?
Oh, I was so nervous. And then she asked if she could put our wedding on the white paper.
Yeah, she wanted to do the ceremony on like the
on the blockchain.
On the blockchain, on the Satoshi white paper.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would feel more.
I almost want to go back and say, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, because that means more to us. That's like more.
That would be our NFT. No,
that would be that. Honestly, I cannot think of a better NFT than the white paper that our marriage was sanctified on. But I would never sell that NFT.
I was going to say, who else would want our
A lot
marriage?
of people would want that. I would not sell that ever. That's a priceless.
I don't know if I want someone owning our.
No. No, but we have an amazing, and that was actually a great. Our wedding was so amazing, but we're going forward a lot of years. So we're traveling all around, and then January, or if it was January 2014, BitInstant was shut down. A lot of shit, we were like on the top of the world together. We were dating like 1 year, not even 1 year, 8 months. We were traveling around the world, and then I got arrested for the whole BitInstant stuff, and you had to, give up your whole. I don't want to. We've covered this so many times on the show, and I want to keep this like a positive show.
Yeah, of course.
But I love you so much.
I love you too.
Those are some dark years. Those are some really dark years.
But we prevailed.
We prevailed. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Let's knock again.
And around that same time, like that was not just the end of like our first love bull market. Like we always had a love bull market, but like the first bull market together, that's when like Mt. Gox shut down.
Yep.
That was like 8 days after I got arrested. And nothing to do with me, but it was completely like around the same time that they paused withdrawals. And years later, I think it's like 8 years later, Mt. Gox actually, their customers finally are getting their money back. Like the bankruptcy process is like completing. I think a few weeks ago, they got emails about it.
Yep. Yeah, it was crazy.
We were doing like watching TV and movies over FaceTime.
Yep.
I was living in my parents' basement.
When you were on house arrest, yeah.
With my ankle bracelet.
But we also lived together on house arrest as well.
We did. That was amazing when the judge allowed us to move back together and live. We had some amazing years. We had like our going away party. I
was going to say we had a going away party in New York City when we lived in the penthouse there. It was nice.
Yeah, the blockchain.info whole founding crew was there.
Yeah.
And like so many good friends and family were there to like wish us well, because you were also leaving New York, like moving back home.
Yeah, but I didn't know for sure what was happening.
And no one knew it was happening.
Yeah, it was kind of like a shock.
We remember we went to one of our good friends, Jake Donnell, who was there. He was always like cooking us dinner on like house arrest together. He was like
steak.
He did a proof of steak barbecue. Yeah. He was always the first like Bitcoiner to leave Morgan Stanley and to like be a full-time Bitcoiner and keep that Bitcoin community. He passed away not too long ago, but a lot of, you'll see the anniversary on our Twitter and stuff every year.
Rest in peace, Jake.
Yeah, that proof of steak barbecue. What do you remember about that?
I remember us going upstairs and it was on the rooftop. And that's pretty much all I remember.
Max and Stacy were there?
Max and Stacy were there. I didn't want to like keep name dropping people because like, I don't know.
They're an important part of our lives.
I know they are. They are, definitely.
And there was a bunch of other people there. And at that point in the Bitcoin time, this was like 2015, Ethereum was finally being like talked about and was launching. People were, Bitcoin was like in a bear market like it is now. It was like 2015. It was like rough bear market time. And at that one, people didn't even know if, like, I was looking, you were helping me look for a job for when I get out of prison. I didn't even know what I was going to do.
I got you a job sight unseen.
How did you get me a job?
So I wrote a letter to the manager that I was working at a winery at the time in Pennsylvania. And they already kind of knew who Charlie Shrem was, but never met you. So like they knew of you. And so I literally just explained the whole story, put my heart on put everything on the line for you. Didn't know how this manager was going to take it. And the letter was passed to somebody else. So the manager gave it to the owner, the owner or the executive chef at the time. So he basically ran the place. And I was like, oh, so he came up to me and he's like, so I hear your boyfriend is in federal prison. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and you need to get him a job. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I can make that happen. And that's how it happened.
That was the
written letter. That should be an NFT.
Yeah, that should be. Yeah, written letters work. Like we were writing letters to each other for that like year and a half. So,
Yeah.
the power of the written letter, you never, but you were actually, speaking of podcasts, it's episode 300. You did your first podcast in 2015 for like, it was Vice Motherboard, right?
Yeah.
I was hunky dory. I don't even know that was going on. I was just playing bocce in prison or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually working for my mom's friend. She had a boutique called Life Changes Boutique, and it was basically helping women get through when they're doing cancer treatments. So I worked in the wig department, and this was before when I got you the job at the restaurant. I've worked at a lot of jobs before you came home. But anyway, so Life Changes Boutique, I was working there, and I was in the middle of working there, and I got this random call from Adrienne Jeffries, and she was like, "Is this Courtney?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "This is Adrienne Jeffries from Motherboard Vice." And I was like, "Yes." She goes, "Can I do an interview on you?" And I was like, okay. And I literally sat at the Life Changes Boutique office in a dark room and literally was on the phone with Adrienne Jeffries doing this interview for like a good 45 minutes. And then it went on air.
I've heard that interview now, and anyone can go listen to it. You really felt, you could tell that you really felt passion for like, for what Bitcoin represented to us. Do you remember at the time, like what it represented to you?
I remember that I was still really positive about it because I just saw the community that you had behind you and behind us, even though I was your girlfriend at the time, how there was so much support, and just, it was just amazing to see that people just stuck around for that amount of time. And even though we were burned, I still believed that it was still going to soar.
And all these years later, that was one of the most painful things in our lives together. But all these years later, we look it back and we say, like, we were almost like it didn't define us, but we used it as like a springboard to do kind of whatever we wanted to do. We've been able to like use it and remember, like, oh, whatever we're going through now, it doesn't even compare to what we had to go through in the dark years.
Yeah.
The sabbatical. What do we say? Sabbatical now?
Sabbatical, yeah. And by the way, Bitcoin was $234 at the time when I did that interview.
Oh my God, $234. Yep. Then that was, I remember that. So 200, that was the bottom of that bear market. Yeah. It dipped to like 180, 190, but it hung out below in the low 200s for like a year. People, a year. It was a long time. But so you did that interview, and right about the same time that I got out, and you got me this job, and I'm a dishwasher. I loved it. Best job ever. And I'm actually picking up some eggs in Amish town, and from an Amish farm.
It was a farm to table restaurant, for people are wondering why you were going to get eggs.
It was an amazing restaurant. John Wright, if anyone's ever like in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, it's the best restaurant in the whole entire world. It's only they'll walk you through the kitchen. I kept that kitchen spotless every day.
Yes.
And I'm hearing on the radio. So at this point, we haven't like re-entered the Bitcoin world. Like, I'm not even using a smartphone, but I hear on the radio something about this Ethereum DAO that exploded. So just to give everyone an idea of like what year this is the year of the DAO. And the first DAO on Ethereum raised all this money. It was the first time smart contract ever used, like hundreds of millions of dollars, and the hacker got in and hacked it all, and it was all gone. But like, that's kind of the Bitcoin world that we were going back into.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember Steem? We were doing articles on Steem.
Steem was like such an amazing experience because we could write articles and make money.
I felt like that was a platform for you to kind of like be reacquainted with the public again. Like, I feel like that was like a therapy session for you to kind of like just vent and kind of just reach out to everybody. And that, because that was like your coming out party, right? That's like when people started to realize that you were out doing your thing.
I was hanging out in the early Steem community and writing articles and earning tokens, and the stories that I was putting out, you can go read them, like the macroeconomics and the socioeconomic macro like stuff, and just like observations and fun stories from jail and stuff like that. The community loved it, and I loved talking about it.
Yeah. We went to Munich, remember?
Oh, we went to Munich right after that. We got permission from the judge, and we went to a crypto conference in Munich in 2017.
That was so much fun.
With the whole Steem crew.
Yep.
Everything that brought us back to the industry was always community. It was always people, friends, community, culture, ideology.
Yep.
Do you remember the pizza party in Miami?
Of course.
Yeah. Do you remember the people dressed in costumes? What were they wearing?
They were all wearing pizzas.
Yeah.
It was like floating people with pizzas. Like you walk in and I just remember it's like this huge room and it was a second floor and everyone had pizza costumes on. I'm like, yep, this is the Bitcoin pizza party.
Did you ever ask anyone like why we're once a year we'd get all this pizza and no matter where we were in the world? We've been dedicated. You and I have been dedicated like celebrating Bitcoin Pizza Day.
Oh yeah.
For 10 years. Yeah, we went to another one years later.
Party.
But did anyone ever like I know you know now, but at what point did someone tell you why we're actually celebrating pizza? And you're like, that's the reason? Like that's your holiday? Do you remember what the moment was?
Yeah, I just thought it was very strange. And I just thought it was a Bitcoin thing that people were just dressed up in pizza costumes. I didn't know. Everyone's so creative and unique. Like I just didn't even look twice into it. All
we were celebrating every year is the fact that it was like the first ever recorded Bitcoin transaction where someone bought bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin, like in 2010, I think it was. So that's the celebration. And then we did the SegWit Tampa pizza party, another one. We were like, we had a SegWit cake. So here you are. And we're like, we got married that year.
Yeah. I remember because then we went to Tampa and it was a party on the water and there was a little bit of press there and there was just dancing and drinks were flowing. And then there was the Bitcoin cake.
And so there's this cake that literally says SEGWIT. Now I want to know what other developer community in the whole entire world has cakes when they do merges of their code base. Because really that's what SegWit was. We were merging the segregated witness code base. But like the Bitcoin community is so strong and so old that this code merge became contentious for a while. And eventually when it went through, everyone was celebrating it. And I'm just looking back and I'm like, oh my God, what life do we have that we're celebrating like segregated witness, like code base merging? It's just insane. And then, although we can't talk about who are the people that were there, we went to Satoshi Roundtable.
That was amazing too.
That was an amazing experience. We got to really meet a lot of our old friends from the early Bitcoin days.
Yeah.
They do Satoshi Roundtable every year, and it's such a fun, like to get re-invited to that back was such a nice experience.
It's a great spa.
And we moved down to Florida and we got married.
Yes, we did.
And our Bitcoin and crypto life didn't end there, did it? It only got bigger.
Yes. And then we graced Sarasota Magazine.
Yeah. We graced Sarasota Magazine. And then we started the show.
And
that's kind of like where the history up until now, although we missed over probably a lot. Starting the show was
probably a little out of order too, but that's okay.
Do you remember the time that I told you I wanted to start the show? What do you remember the first time I talked to you about it?
Yeah, it's when we were going through the whole Winklevoss case.
Oh, that was crazy. And
so you needed something to vent. So literally it was a way for you to just kind of just do your own thing and kind of veer away from, I don't know, just day-to-day stuff. That this is like your thing. This was your creative outlet that you could do. And it was just you. So I remember how excited you were and you're like, I'm going to do this. And look, you're at 300 today. Yay. Congratulations.
Thank you, baby. I remember like, the guys, the Blockwork guys who I founded the show with, I recorded the first 5 episodes and Jason sat me down on the phone and he said, are you sure you want to do this? Like, 'cause I wasn't a very good podcaster, back then. I still don't think I'm a very good podcaster.
You're amazing.
But I guess we're here all these years later. Thank you. But like they needed all these notes and all these suggestions, and literally all of his notes and his suggestions would have amounted to me doing a completely different show. Not like different show, but just like how I prepare it and how we do the show. And because I went to prison and I had so much humility training, I felt like at that point I was just like, yeah, any suggestion you want, I don't care. Just tell me how to be good. And it really is a testament to, and I forget, but personally a lot of times to be humble, but it just like when we let our egos go and we could just like absorb help from people and information, we can learn so many other things.
Of course.
And I don't want to end there. So we started the show in 2019. We're married now 2 years.
Yeah.
We're traveling all these amazing places, doing all these amazing things. We're doing this new crypto investor network with an investor place, and to start the podcast, and got our fund together, and working for and investing in so many different Bitcoin and crypto companies, and making a lot of shit happen from behind the scenes, with a lot of our friends who are in the positions where they are now.
We're producing film.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
But what did we do? Instead of hiding out, what did we start doing?
We started producing films.
We started making movies. And so now we're making some movies together.
Yes.
I love how we just take lemons and turn them into lemonade.
Lemonade. Absolutely.
That was been such an amazing thing. I mean, like, can't believe it's episode 300. I can't wait for people to see all of the movies that you're going to be in. I can't wait for the next 100 episodes, the next 1,000 episodes, where there's so many exciting things you and I know that we can't talk about. There are so many exciting things coming to the show that's in the works, in the background, that we're going to be doing some amazing things together.
Yes.
So before we end, do we miss anything? Like, we got ice cream sandwiches.
I don't think we have enough time for everything that we can talk about, but yeah, that was a nice little touch with the ice cream sandwich. Mine's all melted because I didn't eat all of it.
Oh, no worries. Okay. Well, I love you, and I love all you guys.
And I'm really proud of you, Charlie.
Thank you, babes.
Came a long way.
Court, I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. Episode 300 would not be as good as it was, or doing the show would not be. The best part of doing the show is like when I finish, I come and tell you, and the first thing you ask me is, how was the show? Who was on your show today? And how did it change our lives? Thank you to my 300 guests. Thank you to my guest 300. But all you guys who are listening to the show, thank you guys, girls. And I use guys interchangeably for everyone, but thank you, everyone. Please email me, get in touch. Any guests you want to have or things you guys want to see going forward, please let us know. And Bazzy, of course, our amazing puppy, and all the people who have supported us along the way.
Yes.
I'm your host, Charlie Shrem. You have achieved an unlock at episode 300. Congratulations, everyone.
Yay!
Let's go forward. Like, we've been through so many bull and bear markets together, and I'm ready for a bull market. Are you ready for a bull market?
I'm always ready for a bull market.
I'm ready for the moon. Let's go for another bull market right now. Let's go. All right, to the moon, guys.
All right, to the moon. Thanks, guys.